I also work with the contract. I mainly work in Go, but as you can see, I also use Rust in my side projects. And I will be talking about my own side project, which is the trading bot example. There will be smaller, I will be more talking about general design instead of showing the code, because that's the general idea of this presentation. And this, I would say, version of this bot, small version, is published on the GitHub. So if you are interested, you can see my ugly code. So that's it. Okay. So we can start. Yeah. I will try to explain from the beginning some basic stuff, because I assume not everyone is familiar with the cryptocurrency etc. So we have many crypto exchanges. Exchanges are very similar to normal exchanges, and we have many crypto pairs. Crypto pair, for instance, is BTC USD. It means that paying USDT, you want to buy BTC. It's very tricky to read this pair, but this is how it works. So this is probably very popular pair and very famous. If we are hearing that BTC is $100,000, usually it means about this pair, because it's the most popular one. But why I'm talking about pairs? Because that's the interesting stuff about. I found the web service, my friend found the web service, which if you pay some of the money, this web service will tell you which pairs you should buy to make the money. It sounds very weird, but essentially the idea is that we are buying BTC for USDT, and now we have some small amount of BTC or more larger amount of BTC. In the next step, we buy ADA. This is Cardano cryptocurrency for BTC, and in the last step, we have a pair USDT ADA. So we are buying USDT again in the end, paying this cryptocurrency. I don't know if at the moment this last pair exists, but that's the general overview how it should work. So this service, which I found, if you pay $20, I don't know, the service will tell you if you will be able to earn based on such, let's just say, paths. So you make the path from this one to this one, and from this one to this one. And if you have a one USDT essentially means US dollars. We can read this way. You should earn not much. Let's just say 100 point, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, depends on the pair. But anyway, you should be able to make the money using this pair. So that's the example pair. The service will tell you based on current conditions if it's possible or not. And that was very interesting for me, because I thought, okay, if I can buy something and earn something, that's very great. I know that on the cryptocurrency exchanges, especially Binance, a couple years ago, we have mostly bots. So maybe those bots they are trading, they're not aware about this stuff. So this is something which I should check. And that was my idea for my side project. I will write the bot, which will be able to making such patch. If that patch they give me some money. So, as I said, let's find out. First, we need the library for trading on Binance. By the way, this project is 4 or maybe 5 years old. I don't remember when I started this, but that was a couple years ago. And Binance at this time was the most popular cryptocurrency, most significant one, 60% of domination of the market, or I think 70%. So that's normal that we want to trade on Binance, because there will be huge chance that other traders choose the Binance. So we have a lot of cryptocurrencies, so we have more possibilities for paths, and that's why I found this library. This is a very good library at this time. Support the WebSocket. Basically, mostly each exchange publishes last events in the WebSocket. So if there is a trade which happens, you have information over the WebSocket. But some information needs to be taken still using the simple HTTP API, for example, which pairs are delisted soon, etc. But generally, this library was good enough to start with. And of course, Rust is very important here because if you check this service, the service shows you, okay, making the trade on this pairs, you will earn, let's just say, 20 cents, right? But if you try to do this manually on the Binance, that never work. And why never work? Because I suppose, that was my thinking about this, we have a lot of bots on such exchanges, and they probably are already exploiting such opportunities, right? So we have to write a program which will be able to compete with other automatic programs, and that's why Rust was chosen, because of course it's faster language and we have enough libraries. We have a WebSocket, we have a Tokyo for async processing, and Ryan for calculating in multiple threads that everything was used. And of course, decimal, because there's a small caveat. If you try to if you try to choose the data type for the money, you definitely want to choose decimal, not float. If you don't know why, try to use the float and then check your balance in general. So we have also decimal, a very, very good decimal crate, and yeah, that was used. And this is this crate, it's probably the latest version because I did this slide today, so yeah, it's very good for the money stuff if you are interested. Okay, but the good practice of making the software is that you always try to make some of the MVP, right? Rust is, in my opinion, not very good language for the MVP because compiler is very strict and is generally pain in the ass. You want to iterate more and more and it stops you. But even though I started and before I will write the rest of the code, I thought, okay, I have to create a simulation. I have to check if this is even possible. So my bot will take the prices and will try to make paths based on the prices. So that will be the simulation, and maybe the simulation show me, okay, this is the good way to approach, and then we can proceed with better version. So yeah, simulation. My simulation was very simple. I simulated I have $100 and I'm trading in the first step, for example, BTC. Of course, we have to subtract the commission because every exchange takes the commission. Exchange needs to make the money, and usually exchange makes the money on very stupid people like me, right? So subtract commission is one place, but to be not overly optimistic, I added more percentage points commission. So because the commission of the Binance was 0.1%, I just raise it to 0.3, 0.4 to make sure that my solution is very good, right? Because it's very important to do not try the project which lose your money, right? So in this case, we buy ADA BTC. Of course, we subtract commission. We also plus this fixed kind of percent, and we have the ADA BTC pair. Next one, we want to have this pair. This is the final pair. So we are exciting on the USDT. So once again, every trade subtract commission, fixing points, percent points. And after the last subtract of commission, when we finish this, we should have, in optimistic scenarios, some of the earnings, right? That won't be the very high earnings, but very important is that it doesn't have to be, because if we have a lot of pairs that we can do it, to sense it's quite good, because it can happen a couple times per hour, and this is done without your intervention, so it is great. Everyone wants to make the money when sleep, when do anything else by its own program, right? So that was my thinking about this. Yeah. And I started my simulation on the Binance, and indeed my simulation with very strict commission show me that that's my future. Really, that's my future. I will be, drying my ears with the money, because in the 1 hour I was able to, in simulation of course, earn $10. It's quite a lot. I was also made an estimation for 24 hours, for the week, for the month, and that was my reaction. What I do with this money. So yes, this is MVP 1.0. So that was the simulation. After simulation, we know, yes, this is the good idea. We have to go for it, and time for real trading bot. And when the real trading bot started, what just happened? Do we have this profit or not?
Millions. I don't think this is profitable. There is so much spillage and commissions. I have my doubts.
My commission margin was very high, so profit should be possible, even very, very tiny, but should be possible, right? But what I missed is how exchange exactly works. So MVP 2.0, that wasn't so good picture, so I will explain what are the problems if you have a very real trading bot, and this trading bot try to trade something on our exchanges. So, of course, trading bot make real trading actions. So, of course, sometimes I missed the quantity with the price, and because of this test, I lose some money. Using the API always requires a couple updates before I will use it correctly, right? But the main setback was price set mechanism and order book. Anyone here is aware how stock exchanges or exchanges work in general under the hood? One person, right? So, but I will try to explain, because this is very interesting stuff. So price set mechanism was something which makes my MVP much less successful than I thought. I will explain this on this example, because the last price, let's assume that we have some of the pair, and the last price of this pair is 100. No matter if it is the BTC, USDT or whatever. So, and we have an order book. On blue order book, it means those are actors who wants to buy something. For example, this is the actor which wants to buy 5 tokens, 5 stocks, whatever, for price the 100. And that was the thing which my simulation bot was checking, right? Okay, the last price is 100. So I'm assuming that I will buy something for 100, and that will be the successful execution. But wait a minute, because we have sellers on the right side. And sellers, in this specific case, we won't have any trade, because this is the buyer who wants to pay at most 100, but the cheapest seller says, okay, but I will sell for something for 101. And in this case, we don't have a trade, because there is no point to sell for him, and there is no point to buy for him. So what can happen? Another person can enter to the trade, or maybe this one will lower the price from 100, or maybe this one will raise the price from 101, right? But in this specific case, which is presented here, nothing will happen. And that's the sad story, because bot didn't check that. Bot thought, okay, it was 100, so we buy 5 for 100, and later we buy another pair, and everything will be smooth, etc. But it doesn't work in this way. So let's check, and there's a two execution action possible on the most exchanges and also in the Rust exchange. You want to buy something on the market price, and you want to buy something for the limit price. Limit price is this is a situation that this actor wants to buy 5 tokens, let's just say, for this price, and nothing else. So this price is the last word, and he does not change this price. But if you want to buy instantly, Binance, not only Binance, the other exchanges will tell you, you can use the market price. And what does it mean, market price? In market price, in this example, I want to buy 5 tokens. But for 100 it's not possible, because the cheapest offer is 101. So exchange engine will buy 4 tokens for me for 101, but still it doesn't fulfill my need, because I need 5. So the last one will be taken from this offer, because this seller says, okay, I can sell 10 for 105. So as you can see, if you use the market price, you will pay 101 for 4, and for 1 you will pay 105, and that was the main problem with my MVP 1.0, because my MVP completely ignored the order book and doesn't include this consideration in the place. Of course, if we use the market price and instantly execute the path, that path will be crazy, because there will be no earning but loss, because the difference between 105 and 100 is huge, right? It's not very, very small. So even the exchange commission is nothing with such differences. So yes, that's the difference between limit order with the fixed price and market order on Polish Stock Exchange. If someone is interested, we have something which is called po każdej cenie. It means for each price. If you want to buy action of some companies and you click on the PTC, po każdej cenie, for each price, then the engine system will execute your order, but you never know what will be the final price which you pay for this stock exchange, because this is how it works on the exchange, right? And the price which we are seeing on exchanges, if we see the BTC USDT pair, and we see that this is $100,000, this is the price for the last successful trade. So it means that 2 parties make the trade for this price. That doesn't mean that you will be able to make the trade for this price, for lower price, for higher price. It's a very dynamic situation. No? Yeah. So after that, I need to adjust my MVP, and that was really painful, because as you remember, I thought that I will be very rich, because checking only the price was so easy, and But now, when we have to include the order book into the consideration and possibility, if we can use the limit price, if we can use the market price, it means that finally I added this stuff to MVP 2.0, MVP 2.0, but after 1 week of searching of this path, the bot found 5 paths on the week. So I was able to make the trade, which gave me 30 cents, 40 cents. So we can conclude that average earning will be 30 cents per 1 day, so it's not a very, very good rate for, for the passive income, really. Yeah, so that was about this trading class. For the people who just arrived, explain about the algorithm. There was a bot which has to buy some of the pairs in the hope of the final profit with the exit pair as a US dollar. So we are starting US dollar, we are buying the BTC, later we are using the BTC for ADI on Binance if this pair exists, and finally if we have ADA, we can buy USDT as an exit asset, and we should be able to make the trade. That was the inspiration of it. That was what one specific service showed me about this this trading stuff, that this trade is possible, and it showed me for $20 per month, but it doesn't show me that it's not possible actually, because I have to consider the order books. Yeah, so returning action. What? So after this journey, I decided to write something completely different, because I spent 2 months on developing this algorithm and checking, and also the simulator. Of course, because that was the Rust, so there were unwrap and expect everywhere and question marks, so that was very ugly code, because I was highly interested in validating my idea, if I will be able to make the money, so I don't have to handle every single error, because if that have to, then I will do it later. But my MVP failed because of this moment which I showed you, so I decided to go for different algorithm. By the way, on the aside, Rust is very good for wipe coding. That's my experience. The wipe coding is very famous in the last weeks because of this, let's just say, AI who is used. And AI likes to hallucinate. I will use the methods that they completely don't exist in some libraries. It also applies to Rust. But Rust, because of the strict type system and very strict compiler, is very good in this in wipe coding, because if something is bad, you see this instantly. If you use the Python, if something is bad, you can see this later when something will be crushed, or even some of the parts of the code won't be reached in the Python, but still they will be working correctly. So that's why I think that for general use case, Rust is not very good for the prototyping, but if you use the wipe coding, then it's very good language. Okay. Oh, yeah. So MVP 3.0, there is on the Binance top gainers and top losers. So basically Binance shows the stats of the cryptocurrency stuff that in 1 week, on 24 hours, or on hours, there are some of the pairs that their prices are rising very fast. It means that there is a high liquidity. Liquidity means that many people want, many actors, let's just say, because usually those are the bots. Many actors want to buy and sell at the same time. So we have a top gainers and we have a top losers. So what we can say from this simple algorithm, that if something is rising very fast and bot is able to check this over WebSockets very quickly, maybe it's a good idea to enter the trade and try to trade it with the hope for the fast profit, right? That was my idea. But how it behaves, I will explain later. And also top losers, if we have a some of the pairs that they are losing value very quickly, there is a chance that they will start rising very quickly as well.
Sorry, the 24-hour column is the volume change in 24 hours or the price?
Price, the price change. So in the 20, it means that 24 hours, this specific pair lose 94% value in the price, right? So there's huge drop in 24 hours. So I analyzed such situation, and in most cases they are starting to gain the value again. So the price will rise. But I was most interested in top gainers, because top gainers is something which is very good because it happens very quickly. If such pairs starting to gain the value, bot can very quickly spot it and enter to the trade and try to sell when the, let's say, couple percent of earnings is achieved. It doesn't have to be very huge earnings, but a couple percent is quite enough. And I created this bot. It's bot to frustrate high volatile asset with the hope for profit, and this hope is is very good word here, because I will explain later that why this can be only hope. And I created this project. It's based on the code from the old MVP 2.0. So still all of those libraries are used. And there is a very advanced config when the bot should start to trade, when the bot should finish the trade. And if you are interested, you can browse the project, but bear in mind that if you will try to use it as an earning tool for your assets, I'm not taking any responsibility for your losses. I wrote this in the README, but keep in mind that it can happen. Yeah, so basically MVP 3.0 was the bot which was able to earn something for me. In 1 week I was able to earn, I don't know, $300. That was very single and very successful week, because the next week the situation reversed very quickly, and finally I just wanted to say that I finally finished with zero, but probably I'm much less than zero, maybe minus $500 on these trades. And if that's only my experience, but if the bot enters to those high volatile assets, I saw that those very quickly rising high volatile assets, they always stop and starting to fall down. So that's my very good luck with such project. But as I said, there was a 1 week that it was able to earn a lot of money, but later you lose a lot of money. If you are interested, if someone is interested, how much money I invest in testing those side projects, because that was the side project. So I have to say that I lost probably $2,000 or $3,000, more or less, on Binance. So keep in mind that some side projects are very expensive. Yeah. And quick explanation about stock exchanges, why prices rise and drops. I just explained this on this slide when we have the sellers and buyers. So basically more actors who wants to buy some assets, not only the cryptocurrency but also the stock exchanges. It means that this is the simple economy. Low price will rise. The last time was a very good example on Polish exchange, because there is one company which is called RustCracow. This company is basically a bankrupt, but Polish government says, okay, this company is strategic for Poland and we invest a lot of money. And now millions of investors rush to this company and price rose 2 or 3 times or even 4 times, I don't remember. Why price rose? Because many actors wants to buy. On the other hand, many actors wants to sell, then this price is going down. And if you sometimes hear that some of the companies have have some valuation. For example, Apple has a, I don't know, 1 trillion valuation. It means that all actions of Apple has a price, which is this valuation, but it doesn't work this way. If you want to sell such amount of shares of one company, the price will drop instantly. So if there will be a situation that all of the investors of Apple wants to sell at one time all of their shares of the Apple, probably this price will drop 95% or more. There were some scientific papers about that, so keep in mind this way if you hear about the company valuation or maybe Bitcoin valuation. This is also the very important Bitcoin market cap. This is how it works. Liquidity, I said about this, it actually is popularity of the asset. If you have many buyers and sellers and they are very often makes the trade, it means that some of the asset is very liquid, high liquidity. On the other side, there are some pairs that nobody wants them. And my MVP 2.0 was a good example of that, or no, 3.0. Because as I mentioned previously, my bot was trading very high volatile pairs, but Binance has a very distinct behavior that they want to delist sometimes some of the pairs, and they publish the information 2 or 3 days before this delisting happened. So I left my bot working because that was the moment when I went for the vacation. So I left my bot working for 1 or 2 weeks. And after I get back from my vacation, I was in my wallet. There were 3 or 4 pairs, the useless pairs on the Binance because they were delisted. And why my bot buy them? Because bot saw, oh, there is a huge price volatile, but bot doesn't know why this price is so volatile now. But the Binance, of course, announced that those pairs will be delisted soon for any reason, and many people were buying, many actors were buying, many actors are selling. My bot sees that and thinks, okay, I will sell it, and we try to wait for the rise of the price, and of course, pair was delisted, so that rise never happened. And that I lost probably $500 because of this such useless pairs. So if you make the bot for any exchange, keep in mind that you have to follow exchange announcement about the listing pairs, because this is very, very important for your assets in general. Yeah, that was about liquidity, because pairs were liquided, pairs were delisted, liquidity were going down, and to 0. That's why it was very important. And for the end of this presentation, I have a very important thing about CFD futures. Who knows what does it mean, CFD and futures? Some of the people know. So if you are about thinking how to invest your money, you have to know that CFD and futures, this is the asset which 90% of people lose the money, which sounds crazy because price can go up or down, right? So how it's possible that 90% lose the money? But that was checked by some of the economic scientists. And there is a lot of papers that in CFD and futures, 90% of people lose the money because of the leverage, because of the other stuff. So basically, if you know XTB, there is a Polish related broker, XTB, and this broker is on exchange. You can buy its assets. And these brokers publish some of the financial papers regularly, and you can check with financial papers that 80% of his earnings is for CFD. So who was losing in CFD? Of course, people. Who was gaining money from CFD? Of course, broker, which means the party which trade on your behalf, and that's it in general. Okay, that was quite fast. Yeah. quite fast about this. Any questions about this? Yeah.
So to that last one with the CFDs, I'm not sure about it because I haven't checked that, but I wouldn't be surprised if it turns out that the XTD that you mentioned might be the most successful with the like CFD ETFs, because most people think that these are like typical ETFs, but there's like a little mark that is still a CFD for that ETF. So that's maybe
exactly. XTB marks assets that some of the assets are stock. This is a situation when you can buy stocks, normal stocks. If you want to buy, just say some bank actions, you pay for the stocks. But if you see CFD, it means that you won't ever own any actions. This is the only option. You make the deal with your broker. Okay, this price will go down or up, and I'm paying for that. But if not, then I will lose the money. So that this is how it works. But still, for me, it's a very distinct fact that 90% of people losing on this financial instrument. And Binance, of course, also has such financial instrument, but this Binance RS library didn't support futurists when I was writing this project, and that was the good stuff, because probably I would try to make some money on that, and that wouldn't end as well very good.
Yeah, and when it comes to the technical stuff, have you experimented yourself maybe? Because in the beginning you mentioned Go. Have you experimented with, I don't know, let's say like comparing Rust or let's say like Rust, because Rust with some let's say garbage collection based language when it comes to, let's say, trading bots, or maybe you've seen some, I don't know, like some resources or whatever that compares let's say non-garbage collection languages with the ones that have garbage collection when it comes to, let's say, like scenarios like this.
So my idea was that this buying and selling the path needs to be very fast, because I knew it that most of the actors who are training on the Binance, because I found this information something in the internet, are bots. So I'm not fighting with the people. Of course, there is a small, tiny amount of percent of people who are not aware about this, but mostly I will be fighting with other bots. So I decided to choose the Rust, because in most benchmarks, of course, it depends on many factors, but in most benchmarks, because of the lack of the GC, it's faster than Go. And finding these paths will happen will be the CPU-bound process. So it's very important that CPU-bound process will be not dependent on other factor, and GC is this other factor which steals the CPU time for something. Maybe not very often, maybe not very high amount, but it happens, right? So that's why I decided to use the Rust. The another factor was that for this type of bot, which mainly listens on the WebSockets, so I'm receiving many. When I was testing this, that was the situation that I received 1,000 events on the second over the WebSockets. And this is a very good scenario for the async stuff, because async is mostly for I/O. So in the WebSocket, we mostly wait for the I/O. In Go, we can say that Go is not explicitly async, but it's very similar. But you cannot distinguish, because everything is going at the runtime, right? But that was another factor which was very important in choosing this stuff, choosing the Rust for this purpose. That I have async, it's a stackless state machine, and it's very good for taking the messages from the WebSocket. A lot of messages. On the other hand, I mentioned about Rayon. Rayon was used to calculate those paths. Probably that was, where is this? Yeah, because calculating all of those paths, if they are profitable, how many tokens I will obtain, etc., that was done by Rayon, which parallelized the calculation in some libraries. So it's very easy. That's why I choose the Rust, because most of the performance. Later, I was thinking about its type system, but to be honest, when I was creating this project, I was throwing unwrap, expect everywhere. So I wasn't use correctly this type system, because I think that this is the situation when you have a very big project on production and you want to be sure that everything is fine, nobody will misuse the API. In such case, strong type system, this type of type system which Rust offers is very good. But for my use case, that wasn't the case, because I wanted to iterate fast and fast, because I was interested if I can use the money as my mattress. Simple. That's that. Other questions? Yeah.
Two questions. So one, I assume that the bot is keeping the WebSocket connection to Binance, right?
Yes.
All the time, and then it's like getting some messages, sending messages, and then making some calculations this week, right? So I'm just wondering, like, if the speed of Rust really like makes a difference here because of like all the network latency that is there between you and Binance. So like probably it takes like 1,000 times more time to just send a message from this point to there than to calculate something fast. So I'm just wondering, like,
this is the excellent questions, and the answer without benchmark is useless. I didn't do any benchmark, but as I said, because I was using async, which is the stackless, let's say state machines, they are very fast. So I can assume, of course, this is very rote assignment, that without a benchmark it should be slightly faster than Go routines, because they are managed by Go runtime, right? But as I said, without benchmark is useless statement, so I didn't do any benchmark. I was thinking about using the Go, but because it was the question I hadn't used, and so I gave the more detailed explanation about that. Yeah. Go would be very good from this MVP perspective, but as I said, I was interested in using the faster language, which I can try at this moment. Right now, I would check, but I think that the main source of my loss was that I didn't understand correctly how exchanges work under the hood. So not speed, not other stuff, but the not understanding the general algorithm of the exchanges.
And the second one, can you show like how this state machine looks like in the code? Yeah. Is it like very complex? Or?
Basically, async and await. So I have async functions.
Oh, okay.
And in the loop, I'm running await and taking the results, and that's it. Very good, which I didn't mention. Very good stuff in the comparison with Go is that async await is very easy to obtain the results. There is an even very famous example with Tokyo. Wait a second. Momento. I hope that I have internet. Tokyo. Okay, my internet doesn't work correctly. Wait a second. Tokyo Rust. Try to use my smartphone as a hotspot, but this internet is because there is a very good example in Tokyo documentation how to use join multiple stack machines. So in Go, essentially you have to use channels, right? But in Rust, if you use the async, you can use the simple for loop, and you're taking the values from the async functions. It's very easy, right? In Go, you have, because those functions are blocking stuff, you have to make much more, problematic stuff with the channels, with the other stuff. So code makes very complicated. Oh, okay. Give me the moment and Tokyo join. Where is this example? Tokyo join. And I need to find something very quickly on the demo and always have a problem. I don't know why. The demo is problematic. So Tokyo join. Join all. Meanwhile, there are other questions about presentations?
Maybe it's more like a comment to the previous question.
Mm-hmm.
So I haven't worked in this industry, so I've read and watched it on the internet, but I know that like on the classic stock exchange, there are like big financial companies who do like automated trading, and they also try to do like this, like earning money by, maybe, not sure if this is sparse, but basically it's called arbitrage, so like maybe.
You talk about high frequency trading.
Yeah, and basically I've seen that it is very important for them to be very close to the stock exchange, so that there is the lowest network latency as possible.
Okay.
Yes, so in this case, I know this matter from my friend who was working in such a company. It's high frequency trade, so basically everything happens under 1 millisecond, as far as I remember. And those companies, indeed, they have special connections to exchanges, normal exchanges like Tokyo Exchange, Wall Street Exchange, etc. And they have specialistic devices. They do not use the normal servers, they use even the FPGAs. So FPGAs, this is the integrated circuit that they are designed to make the parallel computation very fast. That's the very simplification of what FPGA is, but this is very specialized kind of device. The same story is with the Bitcoin. If you want to mine the Bitcoin today, and if you buy the most expensive graphic card, it's basically useless, because now you can buy for 1,000 Polish zloty around a specialistic device, which is heater from the China. This looks like the heater, but this is the device which only is very, very fast and calculating the hashes, and that's it. And this, you cannot compete with that using the strongest graphic cards or whatever, because it's specialized device. And the same happens in the high frequency trading, as far as I know. Of course, they use the C, Java, or other stuff, but they are very close to the exchange. They have very optimized code and also specialized devices, usually even the FPGA, because this is something which is very important. So when 1 millisecond happened in the high frequency trade, usually it's over. Most of the trades that are very significant, they are over. And then the rest of the world starting to checking the prices, and this is how it works. First, about this join future join. It's something which I should show. Tokyo synchronization, okay. One moment, I will show.
What you said about this, the proximity to the exchange makes sense. And that explains why most of those companies are located in New York and not in California.
Any other questions? Meanwhile, when I'm looking for this code, which I wanted to show about this beauty of the async.
Maybe another question, but yeah, relating to that proximity, I can basically confirm that's like the key thing in the whole area, because we're doing something, well, in a sense similar, because it's a trading bot, and even though it's written in Scala and executed within like a JVM, and it's not fully optimized yet even at this point, it all comes down to actually the right AWS server selection to be, because if it's like, if it's like API for some, I don't know, some Tokyo exchange, and we are like in, I don't know, near New York, it's like over, it's done. But when the server location is selected in the right way, I mean, it can even, the whole thing for our, let's say like our calculation can take even like few milliseconds. I mean, the most extreme was like even like over like a dozen milliseconds or something like that, and we are still good. But yeah, if it's like the wrong AWS server or whatever, there's no point in doing anything else.
Does it make sense to use AWS at all? Because there can be a hiccup that is not dependent on your actions.
Yeah, well, we recently moved some parts to the Google Cloud, and yeah, it seems that it's still right, even though, like you said, it's not like a bare metal. Of course, probably there would be some profit improvements, I guess, with the bare metal. But yeah, the bare metal itself is also like a bit more expensive. So we are still like keeping the things that work for us. And yeah, surprisingly, it seems that even those cloud servers are just basically good enough.
What about CPU? You have to choose the strongest one?
I'm not sure what is like the current configuration, but we are about, adjusting to what's like the usage that we are seeing. So yeah, and usually if the usage is terrible, it's usually like PC misconfigured. So like difficult. But yeah, when I've been joining, I've been expecting like we are doing, or I don't know, implementing some custom big decimal over like integers to be competitive or whatever. But surprisingly, it's kind of like a normal Scala in a sense. So yeah, maybe it's about this liquidity stuff. So there's still enough room for like these semi-optimized, semi-hardcore implementations, right? I guess.
One addition to what I wanted to show. This example I even noted in my OneNote. So regarding the async, there is possibility that we push many tasks in the async and then we await with the results. We can intercept this result very easily. In Go, in that case, we have to create for select, etc. stuff, and even keeping eye if there is no problem with some of the deadlocks, etc. But here in Rust, it's very easy to operate on this code. It's very easy to read, very easy to distinguish what just happened with this code, etc. So I just talk from the Rust forum, as I remember, a couple years ago, and this really, in my eyes, showed me that async is very, very nice to write the code if there is a very good use case. In very good use case, I mean there is a waiting IO mostly that we can use async for that purpose. So we basically treat async as other functions, we take the results and that's it. And they, because of the Tokyo runtime, they may be done concurrently on multiple threads. It's not our problem, we just use it in the code and it's very easy to do it in general. So there is no easy possible of equivalent of this code in Go. At least I don't know.
But in Go, but because basically, so do we actually need channels in Go? Because if we spawn next like Go routines, the channels are mostly needed if we need to synchronize it somehow. Or
This scenario you have here, because you make a wait and you can get the result instantly in this part of the for loop on the bottom, right? In Go, if you spawn the Go routine, you have to either use the channel to send the result back, or maybe use the shared data struct, maybe map, but you have to guard with the mutexes, etc. So it's not very easy to use. It's very easy to misuse in general. That's my experience with that. But here, it's very, very easy to read, to use, and you have basically no problems with that, right? If no more questions, I think that's it. More 5 or 10 minute break.